the Colombian women team facing up against the Great Britain women's team in the women's division, which is made up of 11 teams. They're going to be playing round robin before going straight into quarters, I think. We've got the wind coming a little bit cross, but still coming from right to left. Got a pull. The Colombian team, it's gone up, hit around the brick mark.
Yeah, certainly very, very tough conditions here on the second time slot of this tournament. The wind, as Huss said, is coming from our direction, so from our backs, flowing across the field, and I guess from right to left as well.
Early turn from Great Britain on a difficult swing throw, getting used to the wind, getting the nerves out.
Okay. Valeria Cardenas here with the disc. Strong and experienced player. Swings to the middle.
Defense is right on their backs there.
Colombia looking quite ordered, calm with the disc, playing out of a vertical stack. Good skills all around. Making cuts to the middle of the field, moving the disc calmly.
Slightly misfired throw there to the end zone. Player was open, but throw went between her and the defender. Turnover. GB have it back. Colombia have got a bit of a zone on here, which I think we're going to see a lot in this wind. GB looking pretty comfortable. But they've been forced right the way to the sideline, which is where they don't really want to be. Although this is an easier sideline to get off than the other side, I imagine.
Very tough conditions there. The wind is pushing the disc down. Colombia have got an opportunity to punch this in for the first point of this game. I think key to this game, Huss, will be the ability to just stay out the conditions and find the niche and the way to control the offense. A dump and a swing there again from Colombia.
Yeah, I think the coach's insight is going to be useful for the teams here, keep them on board. Wow. That was a beautifully spotted option, well executed for a goal.
Beautiful balance on the disc there.
Colombia are 1-0 up. Just getting ourselves sorted here. We didn't expect that we would have this second stream, so we're just getting the all the names in order so we can start calling people's names. Yeah, look, GB looked like they've got their team thing going on. They had a punchy clap after losing that point as they're running back to the line.
There are 11 teams in the women's division here at the WU24 2018 Under-24 World Ultimate Championships. The women in this tournament play a full round robin and then straight to semi-finals. Both these teams are ranked quite highly in this tournament, but with the full round robin format, going straight to semis, each game and how each team finishes is critical here. So straight from the get-go, each team will be wanting to assert their control, set themselves up well for this tournament, and see how the week takes them. So that's 1-0 to Colombia in this game. Colombia women versus GB women.
Colombia with the pull. Nicely behind the line. Pretty solid, great length on that. And a brave catch from the offense there. GB's offense. Catch your pulls, it's a good philosophy. And we've got a huck. Didn't quite make it as far as she was probably hoping. Wind is stiff. Intercepted about halfway. So now Colombia are working it in. Short passes, keeping the disc in their hands, looking for that safe option. They've really spread out quite wide here, even though they're near the end zone. Strong catch. Another strong catch. Colombians have really got their eye on this disc. And again, that was not an easy one.
Lillian Weaver there.
Reach and grab on that forward thrusting throw. Oh, and another amazing grab. 2-0 Colombia.
What a display of athleticism there from Colombia. They showed patience in working the disc around the field with short passes, including use of the width of the field. At the end of the day, when the option presented itself, they were strong enough to send the arms and the body flying, reel that in, and that's 2-0. And that kind of athletic play is quite the statement to GB opposition.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really impressed with Colombia's catching. It's a skill that is often overlooked. It needs to be worked on, and it looks like the Colombians have been working on it hard. All of those throws were tricky. They're all going to be tricky with such a strong wind, and they made them all solid. Got a strong sideline support from the GB men's team here. They're whacking together their flip-flops, which we know here as thongs. I'm glad they're not whacking together their British thongs, because that would be quite the sight.
And it's too windy to really be whacking together the British thongs. I don't think they'd make much impact here. So flip-flops it is for now. Hopefully GB men or mixed team down there will be looking to rally the GB women, who, even though it's very early in this game, 2-0, it's always a great idea to try and assert, get the early score on the board and build from there.
That's right, GB picking up number 12. Looking for an option against this Colombian loose, sort of loose man.
Long huck sent there.
Oh,
wow.
Straight in, that
Fantastic.
was a streaking cut for the goal.
Yep.
She ran that down like she was always going to get that.
Strong and confident play there from GB. I was talking about the need to really assert yourself, get that early score on the board, and there we have it. I mean, with skills like that, downwind, controlled the disc really well, had the confidence to really go for that.
That's right. When you're throwing a downwind throw in these conditions, you need to give it some air so that it has time to fall down. If you start it too low, it's just gonna be too low to catch. So that was a wonderfully executed throw. Imagine the GB team have had a fair bit of training in some stiff wind. I'm not sure of their training venues, but I can assure you that there's plenty of wind in the British Isles. Colombia are making a slow walk back up to their end. They look like they're getting a chat from the captain. We're listening, gentle walk back. It looks like this is part of their routine, which I imagine will be effective for them.
Colombia apparently with a squad of 17 players here at the championships. GB a little larger with 23 players. Coaching staff on GB, a highly experienced group.
Yeah, we've got Alex Benedict, who I believe is also a Canadian national representative on occasion. She's been living in the UK for 5 years now. Francesca Tyler, she's a GB veteran. And Jenna Thompson, I used to play with her back in the good old Bliss days. She's also absolutely solid player herself. GB captain of the national team. And Ben Weddle, he's making up the fourth coach. What a stacked unit.
Okay.
Colombia are tucked up tight here on their line, receiving the disc, which has only made it to halfway, but it's getting a bit of a roll.
Yeah, those upwind pulls are quite challenging. I'm not sure how many of our viewers were tuning in for the opening game, but a pull to halfway against this wind is quite the achievement sometimes. Colombia here going downwind, and wow, what a bid! Didn't manage to reel in the catch on this occasion, but really sent that disc. Player was quite wide open, and you know, with the wind pushing it down quite quickly, wasn't managed.
Yeah, they fully expect to make those catches, but didn't come off on that occasion. Break attempt there from GB, just got flipped over by the wind and couldn't complete that throw. So Colombia have it back, much closer to the zone attacking. 97's doing some jinx for the dump and has to make an athletic bid for that.
Yeah. Strong hands from the Colombians there.
Pass it forward and finds the goal.
Wow.
Number 24 scores the goal. Colombia 3-0 up.
3-1, I think.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, missed the GB score.
Yeah.
3-1.
Plus, I really like the way Colombia are approaching their offense. When they get the chance to score, in watching them, I never get the sense that they're panicked or are unsure of what their patterns are or what they're looking for as a team.
Yeah, that's right. They are a well-drilled unit. You know, Colombia have been a rising nation over the last 6 years, I'd say, possibly more, on the ultimate scene. They have got such a large collection of athletic and skilled players. They all seem to have a good balance of both of those skills. They've been training really hard. They've got a committed set of coaches as well. GB ready to receive this next throw. Colombia still having a discussion. Got the game advisor on this field, I believe is Sheila, very experienced game advisor. In her
Linda.
wonderful. Sorry, it's Linda in her wonderful green shirt. That's right, it's Linda again. GB stop the roll.
Pull to the break mark.
Working it up the side now. Colombia have got a bit of a poach system going on. Or a zone.
GB hoiks it long. Colombian player really held her ground there, and almost like she was anticipating that put, but got herself ready quite early.
Yeah, I think the GB player thought she'd be able to move onto it, but the Colombia player really held her ground, like you say, made it impossible to get onto that disc.
So both teams here.
Oh, wow! She gets it back though. That's the same player, number 37, reads the disc, gets a whacking D. GB picked up quickly, swung it. They've got their calm attitude on by the looks of things. Unfortunately, got the edge up on that disc, which made a difficult dump.
Ellie Taylor was the player number 37 who pulled out that very athletic block in that previous play. Colombia are now sent it long. And I wonder, we've seen a couple of long looks that haven't quite come to fruition, but it will be a strong tactic in this game. You know, a certain percentage of them will connect, and the gains to be ground to be
The gains to be made?
The gains to be made from such a tactic, I think, are worth it.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to take some risks. In ultimate, you've got to know when to be risky, know when to be safe. Some confident handler movement here, and a great pickup from 67. Swinging it across the field here, looking quite happy with this. The Colombians have got this flat structure at the front here, which is encouraging the GB team to swing, and it's working well for the Colombians at the moment. GB need to keep it calm and choose the right options. They found a little hole there, making a bit of ground.
Yes, the Colombians here are marking an area up the front instead of strictly match defense, and that is really forcing the GB offense to play more of a zone offense than an individual or match offense.
Oh, Colombia just managed to push that one through. A few GB players trying to get on the end of it, but came into the Colombian hands in the end. Ivana Viela Valderrama. Maria Cavidad to Cadenas. Finds Velila Valderrama. And we have a goal for the Colombian team. Thought we happy with that. They held the GB team up, forced a turn, and then calmly walked it back in, upwind. That's a big upwinder. Got a huddle going on with GB now. I think might be a timeout.
GB has taken a timeout.
GB has called that timeout. Obviously wanting to get back in this game. They're 4-1 down, so they've got a little bit of a mini hill to climb if they want to hold their own in this game.
Yeah, early stages in this tournament, as you can see on your screens, the state of the fields at this tournament is absolutely pristine. Fantastic venue here at McGillivray Oval. Perth is renowned for the quality of its fields that it puts up for ultimate tournaments, and this is absolutely no exception. I don't think, from experience, that the fields will wear out or disintegrate in their condition much through the week, but still, getting to play on the first day in their most fresh condition is an absolute treat.
Yeah, absolutely. These fields have seen a lot of frisbee. We've had the 2006 World Ultimate Club Championships were held here, And there's been a couple of national championships for the Australian competition, 2009 and 2010. 2015, sorry. 2009 and 2015. And, you know, the things people say about these fields, it's like playing on carpet. It's like a dream. I can't believe this is happening to me.
These actual quotes that we've heard.
GB ready to receive the pull for Colombia. Colombia doing their hand-holding.
Yeah. This is something we saw at the World Ultimate Club Championships in 2016. The Colombian women's team at that point, not the under-24s, linking hands probably to show the strength of their connection to each other. Okay, fantastic downwind pull there to GB.
GB are looking pumping here. They're moving the disc fast to get started, but they've been stalled about 15 metres outside the defensive end zone.
We can see the poach in the open side there for Colombia. It looks like they're playing quite a match defense, but with that extra poach in the lane, making things quite tricky. And yeah, that's paid off for them here, the turnover.
Yeah, 67 GB, a bit disappointed with her decision on that throw. Amy Van Zyl. GB have got it back now. Number 25, Carla Link picking up. She's the spirit captain. She's made a big put into the wind. Oh, unfortunately, it was just a little bit too much for Alice Beeching to get on the end of. Great vision, though.
Okay, Colombia player here. Moving it to Lillian Weaver. Back to the middle. Calmly assessing the options. Number 17, Caroline Angel Escobar, the captain of this team. Alejandra Rubel Norena, spirit captain.
A bit of a last-ditch effort there. But must have been on a high store count. Just launched at the end zone. Always a good direction to launch your frisbee, and if you're on a high store count, you don't want to be dumping it backwards. So GB have the whole field to work it up into the wind. Link picking up here, makes a sprightly throw to Beeching. 67, Van Zyl. Didn't quite complete that.
Okay, so Colombia again. Hernandez with the disc.
After a pretty calm start, I think it's all got a little bit frazzled now. Hopefully things will calm down again. Ebbs and flows in the game. Number 17, Pope. Makes a nice up the line to Link, who looks into the middle of the field. I'm not sure if she was aiming for Dalman, but Dalman made a good bid on it. Unfortunately, didn't quite complete that throw.
Okay, Lillian Weaver here, picking up. Wow, sends it to the end zone, trusting a receiver, but GB defender there, a timely defensive hand, popping out.
A Smith block, number 11. Should be happy with that.
This feels like one of those quite critical points in the ebbs and flows of a game in the first half. You know, we've had Colombia go up a couple of points, but this is a real tussle for this point. And I feel that the team that managed to pull through here, find a way, well, that'll set them up quite well.
Yeah, that's right. Got to have a little mental benefits. Well, there was a low catch there from GB, and then it's made it through to Newland. Beeching. Up the line, a very confident grab from Pope. Finds Dalman. Oh, nice break, but miscommunication. Pope was going up the line.
Manuela Cardenas running long. Oh! And has she managed to hold on to that?
She has.
She has. What an unbelievable grab. She's running at full pace there.
We've got a collision or a trip. Stopping play.
Bit of a stoppage, but wow, we could see that play unfolding, you know, with Manuel Cardenas there running long, streaking clearly open, and just the athleticism to be able to, at full pace, lay out quite at the end of her capacities, but reeling it in. What a catch.
Yeah. The Colombians always have a great level of fitness. I think a lot of them train at a higher altitude than the rest of the ultimate community, and it really sets them in good stead to not only make carrying sprints whenever they want, but to last a whole tournament at a high pace. Very impressive to see.
Right. Wasn't sure what the nature of that stoppage was.
So they're going to take a sub as well.
It was an injury, I think. So there's been they're subbing.
So
Colombia
she's coming in
taking the
over here?
opportunity to take a sub as well, which in ultimate is.
Is there a stop count?
So it was
It's
two.
on the rules. If you have an injury and you go off, another of your players can sub, but otherwise you can't make a sub except for between points. So 33's come on.
So
Cardenas.
Valera Cardenas has come on now. Manuela Cardenas with the disc. Throwing to her sister. Centering the disc now to Marino Ortiz. Moving out of a vertical stack. Was that a hand block there?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just a wind block. The wind pushed the back of the disc down. She was trying to angle the front of it up to make a careful throw, but the strength of the wind just forced that frisbee down. GB moves it to Beeching, who sticks it. Looks like a bit of a game plan here. Didn't come off. Colombia have the disc again.
Montoya Diaz. Weaver. Ribeño. Sorry, Hernandez. Cardenas. Marino Ortiz. And there's the goal for Colombia.
So Colombia really backed themselves up here.
Couple of turnovers in that point, but what do you think the main differences in the teams have been so far here, Huss?
Well, I think that GB have been just having they've been forcing their throws after a bit of flow. They've been getting comfortable and then just pushing one too many.
Colombia taking a timeout.
Whereas Colombia have been a little bit more patient. I think that's the main difference here.
Right. We can see on the replay there, it's a timeout called by Colombia, by the way, live. But on the replay, Colombia very calm. They search and wait for that open option. When that presents, they just do it without hesitation. So we're seeing quite a lot of shorter, secure throws punctuated with some long shots. And I think what is clear to me in this early part of the game, at least, is that Colombia have quite a number of players with very sticky hands. They're reeling in some unbelievable catches in very tough conditions.
That's right. They're not afraid of a difficult catch, and they make sure even the easy catches are done with purpose. Something that some teams train is to watch the frisbee all the way into their hands with an exaggerated fashion. Something that we've done at Bauhaus, but I don't think that we've managed to execute quite as impressively as this Colombian under-24 team are doing so right now. I'm feeling like the GB team, if they settle and start taking a little bit longer on their decisions, they'll get themselves back into this game.
Yeah, the score is 5-1 here, Colombia GB, and that's definitely not an insurmountable deficit to overcome. We saw in the first game, India were trailing Australia 7-1, I think, and they went on a run to take half 8-7, and in fact went on to win the game closely after that, and Universe Point 12-11.
That's right. It was in the mixed division, and it was an incredible game. So I'm hoping that GB will come back here and provide as much excitement as India did in the opening game.
What a treat for supporters, viewers, and the players here. You know, there's a week full of Ultimate. No doubt many tales of heroics and many, many athletic highlights to come.
Men, you need to make your way to the catering tent and eat so you don't miss your bus.
Got Colombia here pulling left to right to GB.
USA, men's and mixed, please head over and get some delicious food.
Skipping action from Manuela Cardenas, pulling there and a pull to halfway. Very good effort here in this wind. Again, they've gone for that it's a kind of zone here from Colombia, and it's forced GB to abandon whatever pool play that they've set up and to work the disc and find the spaces.
That's right. And 12. So, 29. Starrick. So does a high release over the top of that straight wall from the Colombia defense and finds Gibson.
So,
Back to So. Baker does a big fake, try and throw that wall off. Sneaks it round. Oh, and trying to toe that in there, but had to catch it just out. Melvin Tang, good
spirited
effort.
move there from number 13, Melvin Tang. Calling that disc out immediately. Okay, Colombia now with a chance to score. Swing the disc confidently across. Cardenas. Number 13, Velia Valderrama with the disc. Back across to this side. Cardenas.
Colombia's got a pretty much horizontal structure going on. 3 handlers.
Sweet little IO move there.
That's right. 4 horizontal stack. They popped it up there and they backed themselves up.
And Valeria Cardenas was able to run onto that disc despite the defensive pop from the GB player. And wow, Colombia with the goal.
Yeah, the calm finish of Colombia.
Yep. I think that really shows, unfortunate there for the GB. Great defensive effort there. Another GB player was there to be there, and a GB player got their hand on the disc. But at the end, Valeria Cardenas, with her eye on the disc there, was able to catch it, and Colombia were able to score.
Yeah, that's right. I think the GB men's team seem to have put their thongs away. Not sure why, but I think now would be a good time for the GB women, for the men to get their thongs out and start thwacking them again. Rile this team up. They need a little bit of oomph behind them. They're not playing badly at all by any stretch, but this is the sort of game where you need momentum to come your way. You need a bit of extra adrenaline, a bit more focus when you're facing such a strong and calm team as Colombia.
There is nothing that riles up a GB female player like a thwacking thong, it's true.
It's true.
So,
just to mention, we've got the second game advisor, or the other game advisor on this game is Chris. He's currently standing on the GB end of the field.
yeah, game advisors' role here in this match is not to offer advice, but they reflect decisions made by the players. They can offer their perspective if asked.
Yeah, a bit of information if needed. And they're also encouraging the teams to keep to the time and keep behind the lines on the pools. Big pool going up there from Colombia, sailing in, and GB picking up number 11. Swings it, and a difficult catch, just made it.
Colombia here playing a bit of match defense with a kind of poach in the area. So, yeah, and there we go. The poach running onto the disc. Centering to Cardenas. Oh, no. Marino Montoya Diaz.
Up the line again.
Back to Montoya Diaz.
GB are sticking pretty tight on defense here.
Gomez Dominguez.
They're letting the Colombians get the unders. They're staying tight, and that was a pressure enough to get the Colombians to turn over there. Silva Peñalosa just missing that catch. A rare thing for a Colombian player on this team. GB picking up, making a confident throw, but with a bit too much edge, sailing over Beeching's head.
Silva Peñalosa.
Wow. Another throw into the wind. It was a dump this time, but Colombia have been forward by the wind now, and there was a good effort by 74 on GB. Galani making sure that was a turnover.
Might look easy from up here and at home, but this wind is so blustery, unpredictable and strong. You can see that the movement of those flags behind the players, and that is absolutely playing havoc with the disc.
Yeah. Smith just trying to make a strong throw to the middle, but again, the wind was getting under that edge.
Morantes.
GB back on offense and tip. There was a big D there from Colombia. Spot the number on her shirt, but it looked like a big reaching layout block. Colombia not just leaving the wind to do its work, but making sure it blocks themselves. This wind is really picking up now. I mean, I thought it was strong before, but it's sort of increasing by the second.
Strong shutdown D there by GB.
Yeah.
It was one of the only options, and they made sure that they had it covered.
Moving it across the back now. Smith.
Okay, Colombia here, attacking downwind.
The formation seems to have been stretched a bit. I'm not sure if they are.
Wow.
That was a big grab.
What an unbelievable grab. Came through from behind, attacked that disc and got it. Again, a diving catch.
GB need to keep the pressure up on the D here to force that. And there we go. A reaching arm from Taylor. Put off the Colombian receiver there. Got the turn. Smith's picking up again. Unfortunately, drop for Murphy there.
I think what both teams are doing quite well here, they're not letting the conditions, the wind, dictate their structure. They're still keeping some nice... Oh my word! Number 74, Galani, what a block. Full extension layout block there.
It wasn't even on her own player. She was keeping an eye on the game there and just leapt out into the lane, sneaking that disc. And we've got a shot to the end zone. Getting GB back on the board.
GB stringing together a couple of very solid and very inspiring athletic plays there. If that doesn't get the GB men on their feet, thwacking their thongs, I don't know what will. But
well, they seem a bit static over there still, but
that's an upwinder from GB.
That
and
is.
They showed really fantastic poise there.
Yeah, they needed that goal now. It's now 6-2. They needed it to get some energy and confidence back. You can see they're pumped. They've got their coach giving them tips, getting them sorted. Colombia doing their slow walk back, a little bit less tight than they were before. They were walking back in a very tight clump initially. So perhaps this could rile them up a bit. Here's a replay of the block. Look at that, full stretch layout block.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely beautiful.
Got two game advisors here on this field, Liam and Linda. I'm not too sure about Liam, but Linda is certainly...
No, it's not Liam, sorry, it's Chris.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris.
Oh, that was a big pull, and the wind is just keeping it going, and it rolled, I think, out the edge of the field there. That is a difficult place. It didn't go out the edge.
Wow.
It did. Difficult place to play from. Colombia have been trapped by GB in the back of the end zone with a zone, and they're looking to desperately get out.
This is probably the toughest place the offense could be taking this disc right now. Downwind, stuck in the back of your own end zone with a very enthusiastic zone right on top of you.
Yeah, absolutely impossible. They called maybe a disc space or double team or something. Colombia back in play.
A foul was called.
Foul was called before. Back in play. Hammer fakes to try and get that zone away from them. They're looking pretty strong though. They're not looking fluffed, but that's the only way they felt they
Colombia
could get out
wanted
of it.
to get it out of there, and to be fair, she's actually purchased quite a bit of distance there.
But rapidly losing distance with the roll. Nice stop there. footwork coming into play, not just on the mark. Okay, we've got
Number 6, Baker picking up the disc. Swing to Slater. So's obviously a mainstay of this handler unit. We've seen the disc move through her hands quite a number of times. Number 7, McGrady.
oh, gorgeous
Wow.
catch.
Oh, and goal GB! Wow, that was very, very impressive from that team. What a point from GB. From the mammoth pull to start that off, the powerful zone, they got the disc about halfway, and then just to work that. We saw the disc, it kind of went through the hands of a GB play, but there was sufficient backup and heads up enough for the disc to still land with the GB player.
It was an absolutely fabulous read here for that low catch. And she calmly played a wide disc. A little bit of a risky throw with another Colombian player in the lane, but she obviously had the confidence that it would sneak through.
GB lifting here, they've really found, I think, what looks like a new gear.
Yeah, I think they're in a bit of a groove here. They're enjoying the flow back in their direction.
So now it's 6-3 GB. They've scored 2 in a
6-3
row.
Colombia.
Oh, sorry, 6-3 Colombia. So GB have now scored 2 in a row.
That's right. And you'll see around the merchandise this year the beautiful black swan, which is the emblem of Western Australia. Little shout out to Coles Subiaco. They're supporting this tournament, and you can visit their new store in Subiaco if you're in the area. Okay, back into play. Colombia picking up the disc, number 19.
Lillian Weaver. Cardenas. Oh, sends it long. Who's got... Ah, the wind took it at the last minute, but I think we'll see. We've seen a couple from Cardenas already, and clearly she's got the skills, she's got the eye for it, and we have seen quite a few come off as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's a tactic they'll continue to stick with.
And although that seemed a little bit speculative, I think that is part of their plan. They've obviously drilled that sort of move quite often, just spranging it deep to a fast receiver.
Okay,
GB back in.
Match defense here from Colombia. GB trying to work
White.
the width.
White, who got that great grab in the last point. Gibson. Just wanting her players to come under. It's pretty difficult to stretch the field in this wind. Pressure on the D, and clean turnover from Ballinger.
Gomez Dominguez here, picking up on the sideline, looking for her dump. Swings at central. Hernandez. Little pop pass. Back to Dominguez. Gomez Dominguez. Wow, Cardenas there, sliding catch. Again, they're looking for these quite secure, shorter passes. Happy to work it in.
Throw just behind the cut under there. Difficult to catch. GB getting the disc back. GB have got the double blue action going on this tournament. A paler blue top and darker blue shorts. You can all see that, obviously.
Colombia's defense here is more like a zone, I think. You can see a couple of players not just focusing on the disc, but looking around their areas to have a look at what is going on there, and I think that's worked. Force the GB player to throw to a slightly riskier option.
That's right, Gibson didn't have...
Cardenas. Gomez
extra.
Dominguez.
Cardenas.
Cardenas. Gomez Dominguez. Directing play there. Nice little IO. Wow, and that
Quick
break
one for
set
the
up
goal.
that goal. What a sweet little IO break there. Opening up the field. Goal to Colombia.
Yeah. I feel like when Colombia get near the end zone, they know when they're going to score. They just go through their motions, which are very well-drilled motions, and it usually comes off.
Makes it 7-3 to Colombia here.
Yeah, if Colombia get the next one, that'll be half, but got a timeout here, so perhaps there'll be a change of strategy, and perhaps the momentum will go back to GB.
So yeah, this tournament's been a long time in the organising.
Yeah.
Anna Haynes, the TD of this event, has been working on this for 2 years, 9 months.
That's right.
Directing.
New Zealand men. That's right. All those New Zealand men out there who are part of the New Zealand male team. You need to go ahead. If you want it before that bus stop, put your head down and get your.
Yeah, Anna's been working ruthlessly. She was still looking pretty fresh yesterday, but she was definitely getting a few of her words mixed up in general conversation, so that shows she's been working really hard, because she doesn't normally get her words mixed
She's
up.
quite an articulate person.
Yes, she is.
Okay, timeout's over. GB jogging to the line, looking full of energy here.
Still haven't seen any more thong action from the GB men's team on the sideline. They've gone quite quiet. GB doing the crouch in front of their 7 on the line. Colombia doing their ring of intensity.
Game advisor's role here, part of the game advisor's role is to assist both teams do the right thing at the start of each point. For offense, that includes 1 foot on the line. For defense, all players must be behind that front line of the end zone when the disc is pulled.
All game advisors have been trained by Ruben Berg, who has been a long-standing member of the WU24UC Rules Committee, and just absolutely adores the rules. Had fun coming up with all of the signals that we are all becoming very familiar with to communicate what's happening on the field.
Triple whistle there from the game advisor, which means that was the absolute limit of time.
Yep, Colombian pull from Cardenas. Smith to Pope. Pope doesn't make the throw to Beeching. Colombia get back on offense. GB going with the match defense here.
Valderrama. Cardenas.
Oh, big pressure by Beeching on the D there.
Montaya Diaz. Calmly working out of their vertical stack. Ah,
Big
what an
grab.
athletic grab. One-handed going up. Valderrama here.
Oh, nice bid there from Link. She's got a big mark now.
Swing back to Cardenas. The lateral swing.
Colombia's stacked fairly
Montaya
far away.
Diaz now.
Having to make quite long cuts for a difficult
Wow.
throw, but it comes off.
And the goal there to Velia Valderrama. They were cutting from quite deep in the end zone there, but the throw was weighted enough and found its target there.
Colombia take half.
Now that makes it 8-3 Colombia, Great Britain. And it's been a very athletic and very entertaining game, I think, so far.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not as one-sided as the score would reflect. I think Colombia just have the edge on the calmness on offense. GB can just find a way to take a couple of easier options. They surely can work around the Colombian defense. GB have produced a couple of massive, impressive blocks, which have really helped them get those points on the scoreboard. They need to pull a few more of those out if they're going to get back in this game.
Yeah, so this Under-24s World Ultimate Championships goes until next Saturday. This is day 1 of the championships, and there's going to be games here in Perth every day. There's slots from 9 o'clock going every 2 hours. So that's 9, 11, 1, 3 and 5. The wind here in Perth tends to spring up in the afternoon or sometimes late morning, and that definitely plays a part
think some of these great moments, these massive, strong catches from the Colombian team here, they really are committed to those catches.
Wow.
Worked out their systems. I think a lot of these stretch catches are because they want to place the frisbee away from the defense, because they can rely on themselves to make those big leaps to catch them. And if they keep it away from the defense, it gives them a better chance of maintaining the frisbee. Frisbee's such a possession-based sport, more so than most team games. The disc goes down, you can't score.
You can just see the sheer number of athletic catches that Colombia here in this highlights package have pulled out in this first half. And you know, they're not just for goals. Wow, and that GB block there, I remember that was quite a turning point for them.
Okay, just taking a quick break throughout this half-time. We'll be back with you very shortly. Stay tuned. Second half, Colombia versus GB. The score is 8-3 to Colombia. This division has got 11 teams. Colombia is seeded 6th. GB is seeded 7th. So it should be a close contest.
You've got GB here pulling left to right on your screen.
Difficult wanting to win. Pretty good effort there, getting the roll.
Excellent pull there. Cardenas. Colombia looked quite energetic getting that offense started, but just a little miss throw.
GB back on offense. So,
James. So.
ooh,
Wow, athletic defense there.
yeah. Difficult throw.
Colombia standing off the players who are lateral with the disc, tempting that speculative floaty pass.
Oh, thankfully the GB thongs are back out, whacking them hard, up on their feet, helping the GB women out.
Montalia. Silva Peñalosa.
Nice break there, and unfortunately didn't complete that catch.
Just a little high for the receiver there. Still gettable, but pressure, I think, from the GB defense there.
And a celebratory cheer from the GB thong thwackers. Slater finds Thomas.
Wow, very tight defense there at Colombia. Well, finds an out though.
Mountaineer gets it off. Back to Slater. Finds Link. And Link. Oh, that was an immense grab from So. She's made some great dives today.
Athletic grab there from So, yeah.
Slater. Starrick, sorry. Greedy.
Colombian defense here looking around at the players coming into the space. And pressure telling. Lots of passes GB forced to throw there. Colombia have got a downwind opportunity here.
Thong thwackers are trying to rile up the defense for GB.
Cadenas. Kadavid. Just pushed a little wide there. I think we could see the GB defensive players roused by the urgings of their compatriots.
I think so. GB have another chance to work this one up. I expect Colombia will keep with their flat defense, which is really quite effective, forcing GB to make a lot of throws. So sticks one up, try and get it over the top.
Oh, bit of contact there.
Contact on that bit. There's a turnover, so
Looked accidental.
No call.
Marinoche is there. Quinto. Brother Morantes. Throws to Valderrama.
Squeezed
And goal.
the goal out.
Quick goal there. Quick disc movement. Quick goal. All right, that brings the score to 9-3 Colombia GB. We've had our volunteers here find a bit of info out about the GB team. So this GB squad have been training together for 7 months before the selections. Okay, these players played as an all-star GB team of top club players as part of their preparation.
Sounds like a pretty good thing to do. Get themselves set up against the top players in the country, ready to face the top players in other countries
Yep, and it also sounds like there's been quite a focus on Team GB in all divisions here, men's, mixed, and women, and forming those connections throughout the season, even domestically, and planning and training as much as they can together.
Hence the support here on the sideline from the GB Open Thong Thwackers. There's also a rumour that GB trained in plastic bags in order to replicate the hot conditions of Perth weather.
It's an interesting idea, isn't it? We'll have to get that one confirmed for
We will.
you.
Sounds like a thing that boxers would do.
Okay, pull from Colombia left to right here.
GB setting up in a side structure.
Swing to the
step.
sideline.
Murphy on the disc.
Again, that poach right in the lane.
Finds an inside channel to Van Zyl.
Van Zyl all the way across. A very tricky disc to read there. Not only the wind, but looking straight into the sun.
Yeah, they both thought that they'd read it, Link and Pope, but went over their heads. Now Colombia staring into the sun. Power one up the line. Looking to break quite often. GB with quite a flat mark. Active but flat. Massive block.
Very athletic block coming through. Full extension layout from number 74, Galani. What a block. And this makes for, they're about a third of the way, just outside their brick mark, to attacking brick mark, trying to get a goal here, GB. Aggressive moves here from the handlers, that's good. Confident movement.
Link to Pope to Galani, finds Link again. Galani's in a groove here, she's wanting that disc.
Murphy.
Oh, massive inside. Can the player in the end zone chase it down? Not quite.
That was a shame. I really was a fan of that disc movement there. They were moving it sideways, moving the defenders, making sure that somewhat poachy structure the Colombians couldn't get set. Just looking for that option. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen for them that time, but I think if they keep looking for that, that'll pay off.
I think so.
Strong in cut from... sticky hands yet again.
Yep, nearly got a Link hand on that.
Bit of contact there, looking off the down the line, dumping backwards. No established dump here. Will they deal with this pressure? What's the option? Little inside out. Oh! And the defensive pressure of GB is...
It's a foul call on the mark there.
Looks like it may be uncontested, so...
Yep.
An excellent display of spirit there from GB.
Colombia's stuck at the moment. It's fairly clumpy, and I'm not sure that it's meant to be anything but that. I think they're very comfortable with rotating around their cutters, letting them do the job whilst everyone else has a rest.
Just bouncing out of the hand there, perhaps a little bit behind her.
Link picking up, finds Murphy. Back to Link. Very close to the sideline, Newland. Pulls it off inside. Whoa. Big block there.
Did that Colombian player get a hand on that? That was an unbelievable defensive play. So
if she didn't get a hand to it, she definitely forced the turnover. Number 14 there.
Ruben Ureña.
Colombia trying to force it up again.
Pumping it up again. Trying to look for the long look.
Seems like the wind maybe getting to Colombia a bit more than it was initially. Getting maybe a bit confident with this big lead that they have. Still need to maintain some calmness, I think, because a 9-3 lead is not everything. A bit of lapse of concentration there from Link, who let that one bounce out of her hands.
Weaver. Ruben Ureña looks laterally at Weaver.
Angel Escobar puts one up.
Oh, pack of players gathers under it, but no one was able... to gather it from the offensive team.
GB going for a very slow start on their turn. Picking up Link, finds Murphy, finds Pope. Pope looking for that inside channel they're repeating. Looks central, finds Dalman. Dalman finds Murphy. Murphy assessing her options, goes for the dump, Link. Murphy. Pope. Very calm here, looking for Gelani. Found Gelani. Gelani slicing one across. Big swing. Can they pull it down? No.
Showing a bit of the disc edge to that wind and going across the end zone like that. That's such a hard throw. It had good shape from up here in the commentary box, but to a player running backwards into the end zone, looking over their shoulder with the sun in their eyes, that's a really, really tough option.
These windy games, you really need to have absolute maximum concentration the whole time on offense. It's a real mental challenge, and GB have a big team, so hopefully they can rotate enough people in who can maintain concentration to keep those frisbees crisp and keep that edge down. Oh, big pressure D there. GB getting the turn. Link pressuring the Colombian offense there. They've got the disc in a great position now, GB. Link picking up after her block. Galani doing some good cutting. Finds Murphy. Careful catch there by Newland. No, Van Daal. And Murphy sends a big one wide.
Looking aggressively towards the end and just spraying it a little bit wide.
Yeah, they've got the patience. On offense, they just need to calm it down on the edge of the end zone. It's a classic place to get fiery head.
It's the red zone energy
it
in
is.
this atmosphere. It's so tempting. It all looks so easy when you've got the disc in your hand. A sheer, 15, maybe 20 meters left. But that's often where the defensive pressure is at its most.
Yeah, we've
intense.
all been there. But when you're under 24,
Wow.
unless you start.
Colombia sends it long, and Angel Escobar picks it up, sends it off laterally. Weaver. Noreña. Marin. Montoya Diaz.
Cadena.
Cadena. Hernandez.
Streaking deep from Cadena.
Amazing. Oh, wow.
Oh, she in, not quite.
They're getting some ground here with their fast play. And gold, Colombia. Wow, that was impressive offense there.
Very impressive. When Colombia get to the edge of the end zone, they do not get hot heads. They're very calm. They just seem so confident that they're going to score.
I don't think any Colombian player that had the disc in their hands for, say, more than 2 or 3 seconds there. And that was the key. Every single player was looking for the next maneuver. And there was often the next option open straight away. So you can see in the replay, strong catch there again. Sort of knee height from Cardenas. She's been in this situation so many times. And goal to
That's right, yeah. She's
Weaver,
a very experienced player. That's what you need on the edge of the end zone. It's a very exciting place to be. She even managed to fake the push pass, which I quite liked.
Oh, wow. We can see a bit of, on your replays there, defensive effort from a GB player.
Gilani.
We've had 64.5 minutes pass in this game. Games are to
100 minutes, games to 15.
So we've passed the halfway mark, and I'm just wondering how the players are feeling at this point. It's the first game, and it doesn't have quite the attention or the spectator numbers as the showcase game, India v Australia, in the previous slot, but still, there's something to be said for this first game of the tournament. You're running out some of that adrenaline, solidifying some of those connections, and just making sure that your systems are functioning in these tournament conditions.
That's right. I think that often the adrenaline drops off around halfway through the game, and you might find yourself in a bit of a slump, and it's then when you have to dig deep and find those concentration levels.
Okay, GB again coming out here. They've got most of their stack here on this close sideline, and now with a zone look from Colombia, they're moving more. Pumped it into
GB gone for the park
Wow.
and collected
And what a
beautifully
highlight
by 13. Melvin Teng.
She got that right at the top of her jump. Really just elevated.
White with the disc here. Ooh. Oh, and just forcing that red zone throw into the end zone. Kenneth, that was.
Oh,
Oh, but a quick turn from Colombia.
GB,
GB
up an
back.
opportunity. Oh,
So with the disc here. Can she keep her cool? Find a dump or a nice open option in the end zone? gone for the
neat little
open
IO. She kept her cool all right. She had a look. I like how that player in the end zone made a very strong fake to the open side, just enough distance and just enough angle to make that IO as easy as an IO option can be into an upwind end zone. So well done, GB. That brings the score 10-4 in Colombia's favour. Just having a look at the replay that you're about to see. As you can see, she moved her mark a little bit. So by the time that player was ready to receive the disc, she had a nice open shot for it.
Yeah, White looking very confident. They must have drilled that little move over a few times. The thong thwackers are back out, getting behind the GB women. It's quite a good sound. Reminds me of some of the birds that you find in Australia. There are so many birds that are beautiful.
And I wonder which birds you're particularly thinking of.
Well, the pelican has a nice snap that replicates the thong thwacker sound. Their big dangling beak. If you're fancying a bit of tourism around WA, you can book with STA. They're one of the tournament sponsors. They can help you find a great route. You can head down to the south coast where you might find the best beaches in the world. Barely a person on them, all to yourself. Pure white sand, amazing blue ocean shining with the sand through it and the sun. GB have got the pull here, they're punching down.
GB looks quite energised here.
They do. Erin McGreedy is down there faster than anyone else. Colombia moving the disc around this zone.
Very confidently, moving those defensive players quite quickly.
Cardenas finding
Hernandez. Cardenas again. Just popped up a little high.
those quick throws are very effective, but you do need to look out for the wayward gust.
You can see the game advisor Linda there indicating with her arm how many seconds the offensive player has to walk that into play.
Baker. Gets her way around this big mark.
Smooth pass there to the middle. Oh, long shot!
Melvin Tang punches
Oh
it
my
long.
gosh! Wow, that disc seemed to actually hang in there for quite some
That's
time.
right, McGreedy laid out as early as she could. She didn't know when it was going to hit the ground. Didn't quite get close enough to it. Colombia back on offense. And a big interception from Melvin Tang.
Good vision there.
Melvin Tang is looking very sprightly. Mountaineer finds Baker. Thomas.
Back to Baker.
Thomas.
Colombia still causing a bit of havoc with a bit of a poacher look. Getting very close now, GB. Can they keep calm? Can they keep calm?
Difficult, hard dump throw there. Baker.
Colombia looking for fast break. Run and gun offense here.
Colombia looking to keep it calm. I think Cardenas looks pretty in control there.
Dominguez there. Cardenas.
Teasing at the edge of the field there.
Trying to slice that through.
Melvin Tang gets her hands on the disc again on D. Now, looking for a good option around this Colombian line. Finds Thomas. Thomas puts it
long.
deep.
Oh, we've got a Cardenas.
Oh, she gets the back
Drills
up.
it in on the second bid.
Mountaineer gets a touch, but maybe she was out the back.
It's a bit of a discussion here. What could it be? Both players, they were looking at a replay.
The question is whether she was out of bounds by the time she caught the frisbee. Cardenas' big leap there to put off the initial catch. Mountaineer
The
makes
players
the
have
catch
resolved
and
it,
they've resolved
and they've decided that it
was
was
out.
not a goal. So here we've got Cardenas with the disc. Gomez Dominguez. Cardenas.
Gomez Dominguez.
Weaver.
Nice inside out. They've worked their way to the other side of the field. Not afraid of stretching their width, which is always going to make it hard for the defense. More work for them to do.
Back to Weaver.
Swing it back to the middle,
Gomez
working it all the
Dominguez.
way to the other side.
Cardenas. Gomez Dominguez.
Oh! Way to get in there by GB, but a call on whether that was a foul or a strip. Weaver is explaining that she thought she had the disc before the defender, McGreedy, made the interception.
We've seen a couple of discussions and calls here in this game, Huss, but I think this is such a model for the self-officiating nature of this sport. You know, the fact that in an important competition, like a World Championships, players can resolve many issues, in fact all the issues. I think that it's a unique part of Ultimate and a real draw card of our sport.
Yeah, that's right, Joy. And in that case, it was the foul was contested by the GB player. So the result is that the frisbee goes back to the previous throw, and they continue play.
Cardenas here with the disc, far sideline. Weaver. Montoya Diaz here. Back to Weaver. Colombian plays quite deep here. No static dump setup. What's Weaver going to do? Back to Gomez Domingo. Oh! And a timely defensive effort. Backed up by her teammate there. Denying Colombia.
Kenneth
Fast
made that
break.
block.
I think she's looking for something long, but there was no one open right at that second.
Baker on the disc. GB are stretched quite deep.
Bit of discussion now if that bounced before the GB player got her hands on it. And excellent spirit. The GB players just put that one down.
Yep, nice communication and a friendly tap from Colombian player to say, all good. Cardenas. Can't break.
Wow.
She's done that a million times.
Just really reaches out with her pivot. Smooth backhand into the end zone. Open play. Goal Colombia.
11-5.
So
No, 11-4.
11-4, yeah. Great plays from both teams there, I think. Not to mention a great display of spirit. Athletic defensive options and some calm offensive work as well.
That's right, there's a timeout called. Teams are huddling up.
Timeout GB.
GB called the timeout.
Montoya Diaz there with the goal, with Cardenas the assist. I think throughout the tournament, obviously timeouts for every team are going to be quite the key tool to use.
Yeah, you can be very strategic with your timeouts. There used to be a bit of a trend of calling them during play, especially when you have the disc on the edge of the end zone, but that seems to have died off a little bit in favour of taking them between points, not allowing the defence to reset during the point.
Seeing a bit of a replay of that contested up, which ended up being uncontested with the GB player, just placing the disc on the floor after that play was made. It's often so hard to tell what has happened if you're involved in the play yourself. It was obviously super close. Often if you're embroiled in the action of the play and to your mind, you've got your hand under that disc before it's hit the ground, but to a credit, got another perspective, just put the disc down, and it was Colombia's after that.
Okay, Joy, leave you to do the next point for a sec.
All right. 11-4 here with Colombia GB. GB look ready on the left of screen here, on the left side of the field as we are facing it. Colombia's still in their huddle. We moved to the 3-whistle system for timing between points for Ultimate a number of years ago. And I have to say, it really does help in keeping the game moving between points. Okay, Colombia, ready to pull. We hear the triple whistle. And a huge pull there. It lands just inside the end zone. No, maybe it rolled out. So maybe it landed in, but it rolled out the back. So the GB player here is going to take it from the front of the end zone. Tricky spot here. Calmly swings to Pope. Working up the far sideline. To Beaching. To Taylor. Turnover there. Colombia looked like they were sticking with the defensive look that they've employed for pretty much most of this game. It's a kind of, it could be a sort of half zone or a poachy structure up the front. Cardenas here with the disc anyway. Looking to use a characteristic reach out backhand and calmly just slots it in for a goal. That is skill, and that's mental strength, I think. Obviously the kind of play that you want on the disc near the end zone or really anywhere on the field with the skill and with the decision making. But yeah, strong point there from Colombia. The ability to move that mark just before you're ready to execute the throw is such a strength, and I think anything you can do to make your job a little easier when it comes time to release that throw is going to be to put you in good stead. So here we've got Colombia 11 points, GB 4. We're at the 78-minute mark of the game, and with the 100-minute time cap on this match, there's only 20 minutes to go, but GB are going to have to find something really quite extra here to rouse themselves and make this a closer contest as we reach time cap.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to have to stay super cool on offense. Take those shots where they can, but they need to start putting a few on the board as well as getting those blocks in order to get back in this game. Difficult pull. I can feel the wind really picking up now. But Cardenas has whipped that one out. It doesn't seem to be affecting her pulls at all. It's made it near to the brick again. It's no mean feat in this wind. Swing to Link.
Oh, it hooks it long. Who's she looking for? Was it a set play? But Cardenas was there to mop up that disc in the end zone.
Nice look there from Smith. But Cardenas got the legs on. Taylor on the mark.
Doing the work here on offense and defense, Cardenas. Surveying the options. No obvious open option there, so just centered as far as she could. So here we've got GB again.
Pope moving it to Galani. Back to Pope. Link tries to find Taylor, but it's a bit low.
It's tough work out there. GB's look very super confident and moving the disc sideways, but and a send, a long send, not quite high enough on that occasion. But for GB, it's moving it forward, particularly as they reached the end zone or near that red zone. That's straight into the mark there. Right look, I think there was a player quite free in the end zone there, just beyond, but. Super athletic move, pop up in the air, down.
Yep, Cardenas reading the game really well. The two Cardenas sisters causing a lot of trouble out there. Taylor on the mark.
Manuela Cardenas on this occasion with the disc. Oh, diving bid there. Straight up for defense.
Smith looking deep again there. They're looking for goal in that corner very regularly, and it's not coming off very regularly. Thinking maybe they want to swing that disc a little more and try and pop for a different line of attack. However, I'm impressed with their confidence in their game plan and their persistence. Cardenas finds her
Katavid
teammate.
there, a cut long quite early. Obviously, that was something that may be discussed. Back to Cardenas. Athletic pull down. And sends it long. What a flat, beautiful throw. Oh!
Just over the top of Gilani.
On the verge of a goal. And is that a goal for Colombia?
I believe it is.
A goal to Colombia. Wow.
So Colombia have changed from being quite calm and controlled to taking big early pops deep and hoping that one of their players is going to pull it down, which they are. And then when they get near the end zone, as we've said, they're very calm and know which options to go for, and it's coming off for them. Looking very strong team in this division.
Absolutely. I think GB are actually employing quite a similar tactic at the moment, looking for that extra bit of oomph and trying to get a few points on the board, but lacking perhaps maybe a little bit of the athleticism or consistent athleticism. And it looks as though Colombia have drilled that long look and the shape of that long throw into the wind and with the wind a little more consistently.
That's right, they're backing themselves.
Agudelo Morantes there with the assist.
Bit of sideline support coming back from GB. The thongs have been put away or put on the feet, but the vocal cords are pumping. Not quite the Barmy Army, but something close. GB signaling readiness. Colombia are keeping tight together, showing their uniformity.
Colourful array of socks there, Colombia.
Yeah, they've gone for the different colour on each foot, which I haven't seen before at a tournament, but I haven't been to every tournament in the world.
Flat fast pull from Colombia.
Oh, confident low catch.
Again, the spread out defence of Colombia, marking areas and players in that area. GB confidently slicing through for now. Can they keep this up for the duration of the whole point? Sometimes the field can seem such a long way away.
Yeah, it can.
Great pull down.
Love the catch.
They're doing so well here.
Worked it out, just need to stay calm. And they've done it.
Oh, smooth goal. Fantastic.
Gibson getting the goal there.
Amazing string of passes
Solid
there.
catch.
Clear options, well executed. Goal GB.
Picking their spirits up a bit now as they bring their score up to 5.
There's so many little things that can happen to influence a point. So there we had a very athletic high catch from the GB player. Didn't quite catch the number, but in so many circumstances that may have been down, and that would have been a point over, you know,
Right.
or at least a turnover. But in that instance, she managed to save the disc. Another 3, 4, 5 passes were connected. Goal to GB.
Yeah.
Another key goal.
Definitely impressed with the development of GB Ultimate. I was there, moved away from there just over 10 years ago, and I would say that they wouldn't have been a team as strong as this in the under 24 category. This GB team is looking really deep and very impressed with all the skills. There's obviously been a lot of work going into development in Great Britain over the last 10 years.
All right. Got Mr. Dominguez. And now Cardenas on the sideline. Looking to move through this zone if she can. Back to Cardenas. Mr. Dominguez, Cardenas. A lot of disc going through these handlers.
Yeah, a lot of touches, and they're happy with that.
We've seen Cardenas pull that shot out before, and GB have to respect it. But now she's trapped on the far sideline.
Well, she was trapped, but she was
Slices
searching for
it
a
through.
gap, and she found one.
Nicely done, moving the cup across. Cadavid there. Cardenas. Cadavid. Gomez Dominguez. Cardenas. Angel Escobar. Cardenas.
Slater working really hard in that zone. Keep up.
Nice. Gomez Dominguez, a sheer backwards dump there, allowing the swing across. Cadavid.
and they forced the turn.
And wow, that was quite the dramatic play. It looked like GB's zone wasn't having as much impact as they would have liked, with the Colombian offense really just slicing through at their leisure. But in the end, it was enough pressure to force that.
Yep, one throw too many for them.
Oh, wow.
Great take by Melvin
Athletic
Tang.
take there.
Staying calm, looking for the next nice option. Tosses one up. Still finds Slater, and who pings that into the corner, where they've not had much success, but this time Melvin Tang picks up the goal. Melvin Tang is all over the field, getting the disc a lot.
Amazing. And that's perseverance, you know. I think from the zone that looked like it wasn't working amazingly well, but they got the turn and they managed to work it down and pull off a number of impressive plays and goal GB, and a timely one too. It's, I'll confirm the score, it's 13-6 to Colombia. So these goals are critical for GB. The great thing about Ultimate is that the game and the story of the game is just not over until the final goal has been until the final goal has been caught. So how many times have we seen, in fact, the final hooter being honked, but
the game
has not been finished yet?
Yes.
Is this going to be one of those games, Haspo?
Well, there's every possibility that it could be. Colombia have been making more mistakes in the second half than they did in the first half, that's for sure. And GB
Colombia
have settled into the game.
I've got a timeout from Colombia here. Teams have a set number of timeouts per game here at this tournament.
2 per team per half.
Good chance to reset some tactics. The GB men's team here on the sideline, not in the picture, but they're on their feet, and I think they're quite excited by some of the things that they've seen by their women's team.
Yeah, it's always a strange time of the tournament when you haven't played your first game. You've had all this build-up, training for months, and then you get to the tournament, the opening ceremony happens, and then you watch a game of Frisbee. So hopefully those guys can manage to contain themselves. I've heard about quite a number of injuries that have happened prior to tournaments when the teams have already arrived, which is never very good sign.
I quite like this support from the GB men's team here. Colombia also have a mixed team and a men's team. They may be around here somewhere.
I think the Colombian teams might be up on the hill there.
Yep.
Yeah, they're providing support.
Definitely when it's late in the game, or at any point really, to have the support of your friends and compatriots really lifts you.
It really does. Colombians with a classically small number of players on their team. They've had a lot of success with a short roster, which is not the general trend for teams on the ultimate scene these days. They tend to be a bit bigger. So Colombians have got their own thing going on, which is really good to see.
GB pulling. Aggressive rolling pull.
Yep, it's got a bit of legs on it. Setting a zone again.
Weaver here at the disc. Oh, and Weaver tried to move it to Hernandez, but I think you saw what happened to that disc in the air. It just flipped vertically and then just flew out of reach.
So going back to pick up, the whole of the rest of the GB team is stacked horizontally, but they finally found their structure. Oh, and then a couple of fumbles on the disc there. Back to Colombia.
Cardenas with the disc. Weaver. Nicely weighted disc there. Peñalosa.
And turnover. Back to GB's hands. So, regular picker-upper of the disc. Looking ready, searching for an option. Actually doesn't have many right now. Found her dump going up forward, but it's caught that disc in the wind again. Still got to
Pack
a
forming
GB
and
player.
calmly picked off by that GB player there.
Melvin Teng, all over the
We've
place.
seen Melvin Teng pick up quite a number of high discs
Yeah.
and discs that other people have misread.
That's right.
Good skills. GB men, back to thong thwacking.
Yep.
Interesting look for some of these players, thongs and socks.
Yeah, I think that's a... They're trying to hold on to their European connection there.
We've got a
Stall upheld.
stall out there for Team GB. So Colombia back with the disc, moving it rapidly down the guts of the field.
Quinto to Noreña. Cardenas. Massive break.
Oh, wow.
Just too much.
Good skills there from Colombia, keeping the disc in the center of the field. Reach around backhand from Cardenas looking for the goal, and quite a tricky catch there for the player running free. Disc moving away from her hands at quite high speed.
GB going for a horizontal stack here, pretty close, which is necessary in this wind. You want to have a bit of space deep within reach to hit. And they've done just that, but it hasn't quite made the distance. Kenneth not being able to get on the end of it.
Weaver with the disc.
Oh, there was a call back with the GB throw.
Uncontested foul.
Uncontested foul. So GB get another chance at this point. So on the disc.
Stall count will reset to 0 here with an uncontested foul. So GB have another chance in this tricky spot.
Goes for the break. Unfortunately, Kenneth didn't quite manage to pull off the throw after an impressive leaping catch.
Okay, we're going to have Weaver picking up the disc here. Good hands there, rolling diving catch for Urben Reña. She's looking back to Weaver. Gesturing to her teammates. Urben Reña turns around and obliges. Cardenas, Valeria here. Weaver. Silva Peñalosa. Oh,
Lovely
neat
break.
IO there. Hernandez.
They've done it again.
Wow, and that's a goal. Great disc skills there. Variety of throws on offer from the IO to just nice and solid throws to cuts coming under. They seem
So-
like a really well-drilled and skillful team, this Colombian.
Absolutely. They've brought it to 14-6, which means that it is game point. GB need to pull out all the stops now in order to stop the win. There's also consideration of points difference, especially in a round robin. Number of times teams end up in three-way ties because of points difference. It's worth GB taking every point they can off this Colombian team, even if they can't pull it all the way back for a win, which is still a possibility, of course.
We had Hernandez there with the assist to Quinto with the goal in the end zone. They, even with quite a small team, relatively small team of 17 players here, Colombia, I've noticed they do move the disc through their list like, quite consistently. There obviously aren't any passengers here on the team.
No, and a large number of them have very confident breaks. I mean, it's almost like they're happier throwing a break than an open side throw, which is obviously a delicious skill to have.
Quite delicious.
Now, talking of delicious, Colombia will be thinking of the win on this point, I imagine. Unless they've drilled themselves so carefully that they just think of every throw while they're playing, which is a very strong skill to have. They've gone for the roller pull, which has just made it nearly to halfway, but is rapidly moving back. GB within reach of the end zone. In a few throws, they've got
Link there with the disc. Galani.
Gilani, White,
Smith.
Smith 3, Gilani, Link, Smith.
Link. What can GB pull out here? It's potentially game point for Colombia's win.
Murphy.
They're remaining calm, moving the disc around well. Oh, there's a long shot, And a nice, neat IO break there.
From Newland.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what a catch.
Spectacular play there from GB.
That was a Dalman throw.
Impressive calmness there. They moved the disc around. There must have been 20, 30 throws in that point. We had a nice little IO break there, open up the field, and then an athletic move for the goal.
Yeah, beaching. She dived. She made that sweet layout for a catch right on the edge of the end zone. She faked her player onto the break side actually, and then laid out for the catch.
Quite close to the goal line there, but
Yeah.
her defender was right there, so able to confirm that that was indeed a goal.
So GB taking every point they can. 14-7, not letting this game get away from them just yet.
It's this light, the afternoon, the late afternoon light comes across this field. That can be quite tricky. The long shadows moving across the grass.
Yeah.
The ever-present wind.
You don't want to be faked out by someone's long shadow. Yeah, this wind does not. It's had a patch of calm, but I think it's just back to normal.
It had a
back to
patch of
business.
calm back in 1985, and it lasted for about 10 minutes.
In the early hours of 1985. Okay, GB with the pull.
Okay, Colombia
Melbourne Teng.
started this point with their arms linked, hands up in the air. They're ready. They're ready to take this if they can. Weaver. Pop over the top. Hernandez. Weaver. Peñalosa. Weaver. Urbana Noreña. So close now.
Can they keep their calm on the end zone line, as they usually do? Or will GB get this turn?
Cadenas.
Oh!
Weaver. Pulling out the strong hands. Display of great catching. Pick call. Marino Ortiz there with the disc.
GB need to make a big block here, save the game. They're looking pretty intense, and the GB Open thong thwackers are thwacking away, trying to help get this block. Can they do it? Colombia
and there's the
safe
goal.
again. Colombia take the game.
That's fantastic work from Colombia. Solid all the way
15-7.
through. So it was 15-7 there at the end of the day to Colombia. Great game from both teams, but Colombia were just very consistent there throughout and showed excellent skills, a high degree of consistency.
Yeah, and a very mature-looking under-24 team, I'd say. They'll be happy with that win. GB won't be unpleased with their performance, I don't think, but a lot to work on there, which is always good early in the tournament. You don't really want to be working on your finer details towards the end of the tournament. So hopefully the coaching staff will be able to pull that game apart and help to take GB forward for their next game tomorrow. So lots more juicy games coming up this week. You can tune in every day, all day, for live stream games. Yep, so just recapping some of the calm behaviour of Colombia on their end zone line, catching those low ones, just like it's eating breakfast. Still with a big smile on the face.
There's no better meal than breakfast.
That's right. Even on those dumps, you know, they'll work hard to catch everything. Teams, you know, talk about commitment when you're playing Frisbee, and I think Colombia definitely demonstrate commitment to every disc that goes up, and it really pays off for them.
Quite the highlights package, this game. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Full-length extension block there from GB player.
Yeah. She'll be keeping that one to show the grandkids one day.
These highlights and the footage and the streaming put together for you by Ulti TV here at this tournament with the full setup of crew, camera equipment, and rigging. It's so great to be able to look at some of these replays immediately after they happen and just take another look at what's occurred. These highlights from first and second half, you can see from this section the long shadows near the end of the game. I think this was the second last point with GB slicing open with a couple of IO breaks and then a nice layout goal there.
Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this game, GB versus Colombia in the women's division, and it's been a pleasure commentating for you. I've been Claire Hussey.
And I'm Joy Lee.
And you can hear us again tomorrow.
Bye.